And what I've come to realize is that when I say I'm sorry, it's all about me and I'm making myself wrong. And when I say thank you, I'm actually acknowledging the other people around me.
This morning we had some time with Mel earlier, and we were talking about this sort of phenomenon. You've posted about this in your Facebook about apologizing.
Yeah.
Or about qualifying, how we talk. And in some of our Women in Darkness Steering Committee discussions, we've even said, let's not apologize. Let's not start our sentence by saying, I'm sorry for interrupting, or I'm sorry I'm disagreeing, or I'm sorry I'm late. Do you guys find that you do some of that sometimes? What's your thought about that?
Well, I definitely do it, and I have two daughters that do it, and I can't remember who I learned this from. But recently somebody else said, oh, well, instead of saying sorry, try saying thank you. So when you run into a meeting and you're late, oh, sorry, I'm late, or to a call, say thank you for your patience. And that one line has changed everything for me. And what I've come to realize is that when I say I'm sorry, it's all about me and I'm making myself wrong. And when I say thank you, I'm actually acknowledging the other people around me. And you can find that you can substitute that line in almost every instance. And I was very surprised by how often, without even thinking about it, I was saying sorry. I was telling everybody the story that even yesterday I was in a yoga class and somebody fell over on the, and kind of hit me. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. What? No, just like I could have said, are you okay? Instead of I'm sorry. The other thing, I use so much qualifying language when I speak, and I never knew it until I was on CNN. And then you have the horrifying experience of having to watch yourself on video. Had no idea how often I said, I think, or actually, or, like all of these qualifiers.
Maybe.
Yeah, it takes the precision and the force out of your language and the way that you speak. And I had no idea how often I was being equivocal.
So that is an interesting thought, to think about our own language, and that there is a deliberateness to it that we can bring.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's in that 5-second rule of thinking about, a grounding thought or a language, or just being deliberate about that language we're going to use or not use.
Yes.
That's not something that's taught in school, or that's
No. It's definitely a muscle. The other thing that I've noticed that the 5-second rule has been fantastic for, and I use the 5-second rule loosely to just describe that gap. So to just describe that phenomenon that your emotions get triggered like that, and you're either going to go with them or you're going to interrupt them and actually act from the outcome or the values that you want. So in the personal development business, there are not a lot of women, at least not in the speaking circuit, in the personal development business at the level that I'm speaking. I am surrounded by dudes. And it never ceases to amaze me, because I'm friends with a lot of them, how I am constantly offered less money. And I just say no. The amazing thing about it is that you always have leverage because you can say no. And the interesting thing is that as I've gotten better and better and better about noticing when I'm triggered and managing that 5-second gap between letting the emotions take over or interrupting them and stepping forward and being intentional, I have become such a skilled negotiator. Because when normally I'd get triggered and get pissed off, like, you wouldn't offer that deal to so-and-so, why are you doing it to me? This is fine, like internally, that's not gonna help me negotiate. But simply going, okay, so I'm managing the gap, and I'm like, interesting. No, thank you. Right?
Yeah. Short and sweet, too.
Yes, completely.
Good point.
Having your own rules for what you will show up for and what you won't, what you want to get paid and what you won't accept, super empowering. I literally 5x my income when I just started asking for what I wanted. Here's another embarrassing story. So when I got into the speaking business, it all happened organically because that TEDx talk went crazy. And so people started calling me and asking me if I would speak. And a lot of the times in the beginning, it was women's leadership conferences. And it didn't even occur to me to ask for money because I was doing something else. I always just thought, people that are celebrities and politicians and athletes, those are the people that get paid to do this. So here I am at the Pennsylvania Women's Conference. I have the largest group of my entire life. I didn't have a speech that looked anything like this. And I was nervous as hell. I walk into the room, there's 1,000 people in there. I do a okay job. I'm proud of myself. I go to the train station. I'm sitting there waiting for Amtrak, and a woman comes up to me and says, "Oh, I was in your session. You were terrific. You know, I was on a panel in the morning. Do you mind if I ask you a question, speaker to speaker?" And I'm like, "Sure." And she goes, "Did you get your check yet?" I looked at her and said, "Check? You got paid for that?" And she looked at me and said, "You were in the largest room. You didn't?" And it was this real wake-up call where I just thought, I must be the stupidest person on the planet. It didn't even occur to me. And so I spent 6 months researching the speaking business. And I decided in that moment that I would never accept another speaking engagement unless it was paid. And I was terrified to ask for money. And so, because I didn't know what I was worth and I didn't know what people got paid, and this was in the beginning. So this person calls and I developed this strategy where I would start by saying, "So what's the budget?" And then I'd take a deep breath as the nerves were rising up and I'd say, "Well, normally I'm double." And then I'd like, and they'd either say yes or they'd negotiate. And that's how I started getting paid.